Archaeologists have unveiled a 3,500-year-old city in Peru that likely served as a trading hub linking Pacific coast cultures with those in the Andes and Amazon.
When history defeats all known science, scientists are always left confused and with questions about the reality of their science. This is what just happened at the Inca stone walls. 500-year-old walls still standing strong, built without a drop of mortar or cement. Just giant granite blocks, shaped with stone tools, locked together so perfectly that nothing can slip between them. This accuracy and the impossibility of this feat has left scientists wondering who the Inca people really were. Join us in this video as we explore the details of what AI just found in the Inca stone walls. No way. This is human. What AI just found. The first major breakthrough about the Inca mystery came from a group of MIT engineers studying how Inca walls handled weight and stress. Modern structural analysis revealed that the irregular puzzle-like stone patterns weren't artistic flourishes. They were deliberate engineering choices. By locking the stones into complex shapes, the Incas created structures that distributed seismic stress far more effectively than traditional rectangular designs. In other words, they had developed earthquake-resistant architecture centuries before modern engineering formally understood those principles in the 1970s. Mind-blowing in every sense. But the real bombshell came with 3D scanning. When researchers mapped the exact surface contours of the stones, they uncovered something that should have been flat-out impossible. The contact points between blocks weren't just close fits. They matched with tolerances measured in fractions of a millimeter, across surfaces spanning several square meters. For perspective, even today's precision machining struggles to achieve that kind of accuracy on large objects. The fits were so exact that, in theory, daily temperature shifts could have caused expansion problems. And yet, these walls have held their perfection for over 500 years, surviving earthquakes, storms, and countless temperature cycles without a hint of failure. Advanced imaging revealed one more astonishing clue. The stones weren't hacked together through sloppy trial and error. Instead, they showed subtle chisel marks and smoothly worked surfaces, evidence of a deliberate, step-by-step process of refinement. Every adjustment was purposeful. Every curve, every angle was carefully shaped until the fit was exact. This wasn't a chance. This was mastery. When AI analysis revealed the hidden logic behind Inca stone walls, researchers thought they had reached the limit of the surprises. But the deeper the data went, the stranger the discoveries became. The geometric relationships between the stones weren't random. They followed mathematical principles that wouldn't be formally described until the birth of modern crystallography, centuries later. Somehow, the Incas were applying concepts of advanced mathematics long before European science even had the language to describe them. And computer modeling took things a step further. It showed that these walls weren't built block by block, in a trial-and-error process, as archaeologists had long assumed. Instead, entire wall sections appear to have been conceived and executed as unified systems. That suggests a kind of advanced planning and three-dimensional visualization that feels eerily similar to modern computer-aided design. This raises an unsettling question. Did the Incas possess measuring tools or calculating devices that simply haven't survived in the archaeological record? Because the level of precision we see in their stonework demands it. Without accurate instruments, the mathematics alone seems almost impossible. What troubles researchers even more is how this knowledge appears. It arrives suddenly. Early Inca structures show solid but fairly conventional craftsmanship. And then, almost overnight, the stonework leaps to a level of precision and sophistication that even today's technology struggles to match. No gradual learning curve, just a sharp break as if some new source of knowledge appeared out of nowhere. And the implications don't stop there. Was there truly an out-of-this-world knowledge at play, or were the builders just so great at stones? Keep watching to find out. Beyond engineering, the Incas seem to be astronomers. Further analysis of Inca wall geometry has revealed yet another impossible feature. Those trapezoidal doorways and windows, the hallmark of Inca architecture, weren't just aesthetic choices. They were mathematically optimized designs. Their angled proportions aren't decorative. They're functional, channeling seismic stress around openings with incredible efficiency. The trapezoid distributes earthquake forces in ways that minimize stress concentrations, preventing collapse. This level of design sophistication didn't formally appear in modern earthquake engineering until the rise of finite element analysis in the 1960s. Yet somehow, the Incas were applying the same principles 500 years earlier, with methods we still can't explain. Even more unsettling is the sheer consistency. From massive fortress walls to the simplest homes, the same earthquake-resistant principles appear everywhere across the Inca Empire. That suggests more than advanced knowledge. It implies a system for training, teaching, and standardizing construction techniques across thousands of miles. But the mystery doesn't stop with earthquakes. The evidence points upward toward the stars. Many Inca structures don't just stand against time and tremors. They also align with the heavens in ways that make modern astronomers uneasy. The precision is too sharp to be accidental. Take Machu Picchu. At the Temple of the Sun, the windows frame the sunrise of the winter solstice. Not roughly, but exactly. On the solstice morning, the first beam of light passes through one precise window and illuminates a carved stone inside. It's not an approximation. It's a perfect alignment, accurate to within millimeters. And it has held for over 5 centuries despite continental drift, shifts in Earth's tilt, and atmospheric changes that alter how we see the sky. To achieve this, the Incas would have needed detailed knowledge of celestial mechanics, highly precise instruments for measuring angles, and to calculate the sun's position across years and decades. That's advanced astronomy wrapped in advanced architecture, centuries before such methods supposedly existed. The Incas had no written language, certainly nothing like the mathematical notation needed for advanced calculations. Yet their astronomical alignments go far beyond simple solstice tracking. Recent studies show that many major Inca sites align with star positions that were significant thousands of years before the Incas ever existed. Some match the skies of 10,000 BCE or earlier. That creates a staggering paradox. How could 15th century builders know the positions of stars from ages long before their civilization? This isn't just a coincidence. Because of the slow wobble of Earth's axis, a process called precession, star positions gradually shift over centuries. Ancient star maps would become useless without complex correction formulas. But somehow, Inca structures reflect exactly those corrections, as if their builders possessed astronomical data stretching back millennia. What else did the Inca people know that the world still shivers at? Keep watching to find out. More depths and secrecy. Take the Intihuatana stone at Machu Picchu. At first glance, it's just a carved granite outcrop. In reality, it functions as a 3-dimensional calendar, sundial, and astronomical computer all at once. Its intricate surfaces track the sun's movement across the year and pinpoint the positions of key stars and constellations. Modern analysis shows its geometry encodes calculation methods that predate spherical trigonometry by centuries. In other words, its designers solved problems in 3D geometry without the tools modern science considers essential, and the mystery deepens. Many Inca alignments point to celestial objects that weren't even visible to the naked eye during their time, star clusters and nebulae that require telescopes to detect. How could the Incas have known they existed? Even what appears to be decoration carries hidden meaning. Stone carvings that look abstract turn out to be precise star maps, accurate down to specific constellations. Some of these maps match views of the sky visible only from certain locations on Earth during narrow time windows. The more we uncover, the clearer it becomes. Inca architecture was not just about walls and temples. It was a dialogue with the cosmos, built on knowledge that shouldn't have been within their reach. Recent satellite surveys have uncovered something staggering. The layout of Inca cities, roads, and sacred sites isn't random at all. Together, they form a giant astronomical calendar stretching for hundreds of miles. Every element, temple, plaza, causeways, aligns with celestial events on a scale that dwarfs any other ancient system. It suggests the Incas possessed astronomical knowledge and technical ability that simply shouldn't have been possible in the pre-telescopic era. And then comes the even bigger enigma, their transportation of impossibly massive stones. Moving a single 200-ton block across mountainous terrain should be flat-out impossible without modern machinery. Yet evidence shows the Incas did this repeatedly. AI-assisted analysis has confirmed that they transported blocks of this size over distances of 20 meters or more, often through some of the most unforgiving geography on Earth. The logistics defy reason. A stone that size would require about 2,000 workers just to lift using primitive levers. To drag it across flat ground, at least 4,000 people would need to pull in perfect synchronization. But the Incas weren't working on flat land. They were hauling stones up 30-degree mountain slopes. Physics tells us that it triples the required force, meaning over 12,000 workers per stone. Now consider the scale. The largest Inca sites contain thousands of these blocks. Where could they possibly have gathered such massive labor forces? How did they even do it? Let's find out. Better than machines. The Inca secret movers. Archaeology offers no answers. There are no traces of the infrastructure such a colossal effort would demand. No campsites are big enough to hold tens of thousands of laborers. No kitchens, no storage depots, no roadbeds strong or wide enough to bear the weight of such megaliths. The stones are there. The cities still stand. But the method, the how, is missing. Recent geological studies have made the Inca stone transport puzzle even stranger. Many of the blocks at their most famous sites don't even match the local rock. Instead, they were quarried miles away, sometimes dozens of miles, often from places separated by deep river valleys, rugged ridges, and mountain passes that seem utterly impassable for anything weighing hundreds of tons. Take Sacsayhuaman, the fortress that towers over Cusco. Some of its largest stones, weighing close to 1,000 tons, were traced back to quarries more than 20 miles away. To move them across such brutal terrain, through valleys, up slopes, and over ridges, using only ropes, levers, and manpower, should have been flat-out impossible. But it wasn't just the size. It was the precision. Many of these stones were carved to their final shape before transport. That meant they had to arrive at the construction site without so much as a chipped edge. A single crack or mistake during the journey would have ruined months of painstaking work. Yet the stones sit in place today, flawless. When researchers traced the supposed transport routes, the mystery deepened. Some paths have inclines steeper than 45 degrees, far beyond what modern heavy equipment could manage. Others run across narrow mountain ledges with barely enough space for a single worker, let alone the massive teams required to drag stones of that size. Even more baffling, evidence suggests that many of these megaliths were moved during the rainy season, when rivers surged, paths turned to mud, and mountain passes became nearly impossible to traverse. And yet, construction never stopped. Delivery of stones was continuous, year-round. The logistics defy not just common sense, but basic physics. Moving blocks of this scale through such conditions is something our own modern technology would struggle to achieve. So, how did they move it? What were the early Inca people onto? Keep watching to find out. Discovered: the secret Inca principle. The turning point arrived when researchers fed full 3D scans of Inca sites into the world's most advanced AI-powered architectural analysis systems. What the machines uncovered would shake archaeology to its core. What came back from the analysis changed everything we thought we knew. The computers uncovered construction techniques completely missing from historical records. Methods so advanced that modern engineering is only beginning to experiment with them. AI revealed that Inca stonework operates on principles similar to metamaterial engineering, the creation of materials with properties that don't naturally exist. The joints between stones weren't just snug fits, they functioned like engineered interfaces. During earthquakes, these interfaces actually generated frequencies that canceled out destructive seismic waves. This is the frontier of 21st century science, involving quantum mechanical modeling. Yet the Incas were applying it 500 years ago with a precision our technology still struggles to match. The most jaw-dropping revelation came when AI mapped the entire Inca road system. Machine learning uncovered hidden geometric relationships across the Andes, revealing what looks like a continent-scale computing network. Cities, roads, and sacred sites were interconnected in a way that processed astronomical data and may even have predicted seismic events. To truly model this system, researchers now require quantum computing. Somehow, the Incas turned the very landscape into an information processor, applying concepts that wouldn't be formally defined until the birth of quantum field theory. By every conventional standard, this should be impossible. No known civilization could leap this far ahead without centuries of incremental scientific progress. And yet, the evidence is right there in stone. The Incas mastered physics, mathematics, and engineering on a level centuries beyond their time. Today, AI models generate reconstructions that sound like pure science fiction. Advanced material sciences, quantum engineering, and architectural information systems hidden in plain sight. The Inca legacy forces us to rethink the limits of ancient human knowledge. Why do the Inca walls spark so much controversy? Did the Incas have access to lost technologies? Or are we missing something even bigger? Keep watching to find out. The devastating structure of the Inca stone wall. For centuries, archaeologists were baffled. How could the Incas do what modern engineers, with all their technology, still struggle to replicate? The more researchers dug into it, the stranger and more astonishing the answers became. These walls weren't just built. They were engineered with a level of skill that almost defies belief. Take a walk through Machu Picchu. Try sliding a piece of paper between the stones. You won't manage it. Even a credit card won't fit. These aren't small rocks either. Some are multi-ton blocks of volcanic andesite, carved and placed so meticulously that even today's stonemasons shake their heads in disbelief. The Incas called it ashlar masonry, but that term feels far too plain. What you're looking at is more like a three-dimensional puzzle, where every single block is uniquely shaped to interlock with the next. No glue, no filler, just stone against stone. holding firm for 5 centuries of earthquakes, landslides, and storms. This is human ingenuity at its most mind-bending. Here's where it gets truly strange. When Spanish conquistadors first laid eyes on these walls in the 1500s, they were convinced the Incas had discovered some kind of magic. To them, the stones looked as if they had been softened like clay, molded into shape, and then left to harden again. The Spaniards had never seen anything like it back in Europe. Some even went as far as writing reports claiming the Incas had supernatural powers. But modern science says otherwise. Geologists have tested that soft stone theory and found it impossible. Rock can't be softened unless it's heated to over 1,000 degrees Celsius, and the Incas had no technology capable of generating, let alone sustaining, that kind of heat. And yet, here we are, staring at stones weighing up to 200 tons, cut with such intricate curves and angles that each block fits in only one exact spot, like a master puzzle piece. The precision is jaw-dropping. Every surface had to be calculated to distribute weight evenly across multiple contact points, all while adapting to the irregular shapes of neighboring stones. One mistake, and the entire section would have collapsed. But the Incas nailed it every single time, across hundreds of buildings. What makes this even harder to wrap your head around is the tools they had. Excavations have turned up nothing more than bronze chisels, stone hammers, and wooden wedges. No pulleys, no wheels, no iron tools. By all accounts, they were working with what amounts to Stone Age equipment. Yet, achieving results that modern engineering crews would still find challenging. Are the rumors true? Were the early Inca people the best structural engineers that existed? Let's find out. The engineering ingenuity of the Incas. On a microscopic level, the contact surfaces of these stones show wear patterns that suggest they weren't just placed once and left alone. Instead, they were moved and adjusted repeatedly until the fit was absolutely perfect. How do you fine-tune the placement of a 50-ton stone block with nothing but primitive tools? That's the question that keeps archaeologists awake at night, because the Inca walls aren't just about stones fitting neatly together. Some blocks were deliberately carved with curved surfaces that interlocked in intricate three-dimensional patterns. These weren't random shapes. Mathematical analysis has revealed geometric principles at work. Evidence of planning and calculation so advanced, we still can't fully explain them. And that's only scratching the surface of the mystery. Now, let's address the problem nobody likes to talk about: the tool paradox. The Incas built some of the most sophisticated stone structures in human history using tools that, on paper, shouldn't have worked. This isn't a small gap in logic. It's a chasm. Bronze, the main metal they had, is softer than andesite, the volcanic rock used for construction. That's basic metallurgy. You can't cut hard rock with softer metal. It would be like trying to slice steel with a butter knife. Physics simply doesn't allow it. And yet, the Incas somehow achieved cuts so sharp and clean, they look machine-made. Some researchers argue they might have used harder stone tools to shape the andesite. But here's the catch: no such tools have ever been discovered. After decades of excavations across the entire Inca Empire, archaeologists have unearthed thousands of bronze chisels, but not a single tool capable of carving andesite with that kind of precision. The silence of the archaeological record is deafening. In the 1970s, engineers tried to replicate Inca stonework using only the tools found at excavation sites. The outcome? A complete failure. Even with modern knowledge of leverage, stone properties, and engineering, the results weren't even close. The replicas looked crude, jagged, nothing like the seamless joints of Machu Picchu. How is the world taking these discoveries? Keep watching to find out. Shocking conspiracy theories about the Inca stone walls. The Incas didn't just cut stones with impossible accuracy, they polished them. Perfectly smooth, mirror-like finishes that reflect light as if the stone were glass. Creating that level of polish on hard andesite isn't something you can do casually. It requires progressively finer abrasives, endless patience, and staggering amounts of labor. Modern experiments have shown that polishing a single stone face with primitive abrasives could take one skilled craftsman about 6 months. 6 months for just one stone. Now consider that the largest Inca structures are made up of thousands of these perfectly finished blocks. The math quickly becomes absurd. Either the Incas commanded an army of master stonemasons working for decades, or they had techniques and tools that left absolutely no trace in the archaeological record. And this is where the conspiracy theories start to creep in. Some researchers note that the sudden appearance of advanced Inca stonework coincides with old legends, stories of mysterious teachers who came from across the sea. According to Inca oral tradition, these figures were bearded, light-skinned, and carried with them knowledge of construction and engineering before vanishing again. The Spanish chroniclers recorded these tales, but mainstream archaeology has long dismissed them as mythology. Still, the evidence in stone suggests knowledge and techniques far beyond what should have been possible in the 15th century Andes. The tool problem only gets worse when you look at the quarries. The Incas were somehow able to extract massive blocks directly from solid rock faces with cuts so clean they resemble modern quarrying. Today, we rely on diamond-tipped saws, hydraulic splitters, and even explosives to achieve results like that. But the Incas? All they supposedly had were bronze chisels, stone hammers, and wooden wedges. How do you square that with the flawless cuts we see in their walls? When modern science collides with ancient impossibility, one thing becomes clear. The stones don't lie. Unlike humans, AI can't be swayed by preconceptions, academic politics, or the urge to squeeze discoveries into neat historical boxes. It just crunches the data and shows the patterns. So when researchers began feeding precise measurements of Inca stonework into advanced AI analysis software, the results were so shocking that teams reran the calculations over and over, convinced something had gone wrong. What other shocking results did scientists find? Keep watching to find out. Shocking withstanding forces. Peru sits on one of the most dangerous fault lines on Earth. The Nazca Plate constantly grinds against the South American plate, unleashing earthquakes powerful enough to flatten modern cities built from steel and concrete. Yet Inca walls? They stand as if nothing happened. The most dramatic proof came in 1950, when an earthquake measuring 8.1 ripped through the Cusco region. Entire neighborhoods collapsed. Churches, colonial buildings, and homes crumbled into rubble. But the Inca walls, structures already centuries old, remained completely intact, unfazed by forces that destroyed everything around them. When the Great Cusco earthquake of 1950 struck, the difference was impossible to ignore. Colonial-era Spanish buildings, built directly on top of Inca foundations, crumbled in their upper levels, while the Inca stone bases stood untouched. Not a single purely Inca wall suffered significant damage. And this wasn't an isolated event. Over the past 500 years, through quake after quake, the pattern has repeated. Modern structures fail. Inca walls endure. The consistency is so remarkable that Peruvian building codes now encourage incorporating Inca design principles into new construction in seismically active areas. But here's where it gets truly mysterious. The Incas achieved this seismic resistance using methods that seem to contradict modern engineering. Today's earthquake-resistant buildings rely on flexibility. They're designed to bend without breaking. But Inca walls appear completely rigid, massive stone blocks locked together immovably. And yet, they outperform flexible modern buildings in one of the most active seismic zones on Earth. Sensitive seismic monitoring has revealed the secret. Inca walls don't flex. Instead, they breathe. During an earthquake, individual stones shift ever so slightly within their sockets, absorbing and dispersing seismic energy before settling back into place. It's a phenomenon engineers now call controlled micromovement. The catch? Achieving this requires mind-boggling precision. Each stone must be shaped to the exact tolerances that allow just enough movement, but not too much. Too loose, and the wall would collapse. Too tight, and it would shatter under stress. Somehow, the Incas hit the perfect balance, not once, not twice, but across millions of individual stone joints spanning hundreds of structures. The engineering math behind this is staggering. To design walls this way, you'd need to predict how each stone would interact with all its neighbors under different types of seismic stress. Today, we use advanced computer modeling to handle calculations that are complex. The Incas had no computers, no written mathematical notation, and yet they built walls that outperform ours. Who truly were the early Inca people, and why does the world still marvel at their engineering prowess? Let's find out. The mysterious Inca Empire. The Inca Empire, officially called the Realm of the Four Parts, was the largest empire in the Americas before European contact. Its heart was the city of Cusco, from where the Incas ruled over a vast region stretching across the Andes. The civilization began rising in the Peruvian highlands in the early 1200s. By 1524, Portuguese explorer Aleixo Garcia became the first European to reach their lands. Just a few years later, in 1532, the Spanish launched their conquest, and by 1572, the last Inca stronghold had fallen. Between 1438 and 1533, the Incas expanded their domain through conquest and alliances, eventually controlling much of western South America. At its peak, the empire united modern-day Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, Chile, northwest Argentina, and even the southernmost part of Colombia, a territory comparable in size and power to the great empires of Eurasia. The official language was Quechua, spoken across this diverse region. What made the Inca Empire extraordinary was how advanced it became despite lacking many tools common in the Old World. They built one of history's greatest empires without the wheel, iron or steel, draft animals, or a written alphabet. Instead, they relied on innovations like monumental stone architecture, the vast Capacnan road network, finely woven textiles, and the quipu, knotted strings used for keeping records and communication. Their farming techniques also allowed them to thrive in the harsh Andean environment. The Inca economy worked without money or traditional markets. Instead, it was based on barter and labor obligations. People contributed work, a system known as mita, to the state, and in return, the rulers provided land, goods, and food during communal feasts. Religion was central to Inca society. While local communities kept their own sacred traditions, the Incas elevated Inti, the sun god, as the supreme deity. The emperor, known as the Sapa Inca, was considered the son of the sun. The Inca people began as a small pastoral tribe in the Cusco region sometime in the 12th century. According to Andean oral traditions, there are two main origin stories of the Inca, one about Manco Capac and Mama Oclo, and another known as the legend of the Ayar brothers. In the Ayar brothers' story, the Incas trace their beginnings to a sacred place called Tambo Toco, or the House of Windows. At its center was a cave named Capac Toco, the principal niche, flanked by two others. From these caves emerged the ancestors of the Inca clans. From the main cave stepped four brothers, Ayar Manco, Ayar Cachi, Ayar Auca, and Ayar Uchu, along with four sisters, Mama Oclo, Mama Rawa, Mama Huaco, and Mama Coea. Ayar Manco carried a golden staff, a divine gift. Wherever the staff was desangi into the ground, the Incas were destined to settle. But the journey wasn't simple. Along the way, Ayar Cachi grew boastful of his strength. To silence him, his siblings tricked him into returning to the cave under the pretense of retrieving a sacred llama. Once inside, they sealed him in forever. Ayar Uchu then declared he would stay behind to watch over the people. The moment he made this vow, he turned to stone. The Incas built a shrine at the spot, making him a sacred guardian. Ayar Auca, weary of the quest, eventually left to wander on his own. That left Ayar Manco and his four sisters to carry on the mission. Finally, they reached the Valley of Cusco. There, the golden staff sank firmly into the earth, marking it as their destined home. By then, Mama Oclo had already given birth to a son, Sinchiroca, who would become the second Inca ruler. What do you think about the Inca myth and what AI just found? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.